Hello, creative friends. This is Joy coming to you with another art journal page. And this particular journal page I decided to do for St. Patty's Day. And so I have this green paint that I thought would be a nice background on this page. And this is just craft paint that I'm using here. And I have several different shades of green, but luckily I had the right shade here that I was looking for this journal page. And I ended up going through my stash looking for pictures or quotes or something for a different page, and I found several that was appropriate for St. Patrick's Day. So I thought, hey, put all these together and I could actually do a St. Patrick's Day journal page. So I decided that I wanted to have some kind of pattern on this page rather than just have it plain green background. And I got this lighter color green paint and thought it'd be fun to put this border around the page. I made a bit of a mistake with this because when I go to try to fill in the corners, you'll see that it doesn't quite match up. So I probably shouldn't have gone as far as I did. I probably should have only gone like halfway on the page over, and then I think it might have been a little easier to match it up. I don't know. But anyway, in the end, I figured it out, and it turned out okay. It ends up turning out a little wonky, but, no big deal. And I thought the green was completely dry, the darker green, but it wasn't, and it stuck to the stencil, so there was a couple of spots that I had to repair. And here I am trying to fill in those corners and trying to get them to match up. And like I said, as you'll see here, they don't exactly match up, but I just pulled out a paintbrush and decided to, get it to match up. So here I'm cleaning off some of where it's stenciled to bring it down to where the other is at, and then cleaned off a little bit of on the other side so that I can try to take a paintbrush and by hand, get it to match up. So that's what I did for those corners, but I think if I would have just did half of the page, I would have been able to get it to match up a little better and not be so wonky in those two corners. But in the end, once I put everything down, I don't think you can, you really notice it. So I decided that this journal page needed some kind of black, some kind of something more to it. So I pulled out this stencil here and decided to put some black pattern from this stencil on the page. And I didn't do the center because I have a picture there of a rainbow that I was going to put in the middle of the page. So I figured it's going to get covered up anyway. You're not going to see it. So there's no sense in trying to put anything in the middle of the page. But I thought the black would be a nice contrasting color. And then I got this other stencil. I wanted to do some kind of gold on the page to kind of resemble like gold coins or something to that effect. And I thought this stencil was cute, a cute pattern, and would go well with this page. So I used it with some gold acrylic paint, metallic acrylic paint, to put some gold on the page. And again, I kind of avoided the center because it's going to get covered up. You're not going to see anything in the center that, gets put down. So I didn't see the point. But I like using these round spongy brushes for stenciling. To me, they work well. I mean, I've used makeup sponges, but to me, the round spongy brushes seem to work better. And if you rinse them out real good, you can use them a couple of times. So I decided that, this page still needed something more, and I found this leaf I thought was kind of cool, and decided to use the same light green that I use for the border to put a couple leaves on the page, just to give it a little bit more something to the page. So here I'm trying to figure out where I want everything that I found in my stash that relates to St. Patrick's Day and how I want to lay this page out. I found a couple of sayings. I found a St. Patrick's Day, and then I found a happy, which I wanted to put at the top, and then what's your lucky charm, and wish on a four-leaf clover, and then of course a four-leaf clover that I found, and I think the last one says something like have a rockin' St. Patrick's Day. So I thought all of these things, would look, cute on a page for St. Patrick's Day. So here I'm using Collage Page to put them down with. And if I'm going to use a brush for this, I've got a couple little like medicine cups that I just pour a little bit in there and then use it, out of there for adhering down the elements. And on the picture, I decided that I wanted the corners rounded instead of squared. So here I'm rounding it off before I glue it down. And I always have a dedicated brush to be used with the Collage Page or with gesso or, glue or what have you, because that it will ruin your brushes. I do rinse them out and try to use them as many times as I can, but I don't use any of the brushes that I use for painting for the glue or gesso or any of that kind of thing, or this, Collage Page. So I try to keep, the brushes separate. And I, as you can see, I'm gluing the back of it, and plus I'm going over the top of these different elements to glue them down. And I did not gesso this page first. I used to gesso every page front and back, but then I realized, for one, it's a waste of doing the back because I never used, I was doing journal pages on front and back, but then I ended up getting to where I don't do journal pages on the back, so I stopped doing that. And now it depends on what I'm doing to whether I gesso the page, because I was gessoing, like I said, every page and then figuring out afterwards what I wanted to do with it. But now it's like I put acrylic paint on this page to begin with. I didn't see the point in gessoing it first. So it just depends on what I'm doing to whether I gesso the page first or not. So I decided to take some markers and just put borders around all of these elements that are on the page. And I put out the red marker because there was some red text up top that I wanted to put some red. I felt needed some red somewhere down around the bottom. And then the black marker to go around a couple of them. And you'll see here in a minute, I pull out a yellow marker because I thought, well, there's yellow text at the bottom and it needs some yellow up top. But the yellow wasn't showing up as, an outline. Like you'll see here, I tried to outline it, but I'm like, well, that doesn't really show up that good. And I just decided to go ahead and color in that little tag up top with the yellow to put some yellow up top. And then I went around it. I think I went around it in the black. So that's pretty much this art journal page for this week. I hope you like it, and if you do, I'd appreciate it if you like, subscribe, or leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I really enjoy doing these art journal pages, and so I would like to continue to do them and share them with everyone. And here there was a little bit of brown on that one, and I'm like, there's no brown anywhere else, so I colored it in with a darker green just so that it matched the whole page. So that's pretty much the page that I did this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Talk to you later. Bye.